Hey everyone, welcome back to the Female Farrier. In this video I am working on a big Tennessee Walker, and as you can see he has really long toes, so that's the first thing I'm addressing. And I want to talk about why this horse does have really long toes, and some of it is probably genetic, but some of it is because you can see at the very back of the frog, once I finish nipping, there's kind of like, for lack of a better term, a butt crack. And that is a central sulcus infection, where he has bacteria and fungus in there that is eating the live tissue, and it makes that area of the hoof really sore. And when they have that, they stop landing heel first and they start landing flat or toe first. And that will wreak havoc on every part of the horse's hoof. So one of those things is that the toe will usually elongate, the hoof will flatten out, the heel will collapse. So until that central sulcus infection is addressed and goes away, this hoof will not make the improvements we're looking for. So now I'm just cleaning up that frog. Want to remove as much yucky infected tissue as I can without getting into the live tissue. And every time I bring his toe back really far, usually by the time I finish from the top, I've brought that toe back close to the white line. And with his heel, it's kind of a happy medium trim. I don't want to dump him on that heel that is compromised due to the thrush. So I leave him a little bit of extra heel. And that's just kind of how I have to trim this guy right now. So now I'm working on that hoof from the top. I just want to make a really strong bevel for this guy to help improve his breakover as much as I possibly can. You can see he has a small twist in this hoof where he likes to grow longer on the lateral side. So I try to address that, but it's also more to do with the way he moves than the way I trim his feet. So there's not tons I can do to correct that with my trim. So now I'm working on this horse's right front, and this front has a little bit of a twist in it too. From the bottom you'd be like, oh, the inside is way longer than the lateral side or the outside of the hoof. And it's actually not when you look at this hoof from the top. So they're just things I try to think about while I'm trimming from the bottom to make sure I don't create more balance issues for this horse. He's actually had EPM twice, so he has some funky wear patterns because I don't know if he's ever fully recovered from the EPM, so he moves a little funny. So every hoof on this horse is going to be different. But one thing they all have in common, especially his fronts, is this long toe. So that's where I'm removing most of the growth. Lots of nipper work initially on this hoof. And just wanting to take those bars down. He likes to have bars that lay over on the sole, and that can cause abscessing if it's not removed. And then I always address his frogs a little bit. There's some material that I have to leave and I cannot take because it's too close to live tissue, and I would really risk making him bleed. So I try to remove as much as I can, and then usually at the end of the trim, I'll treat his central sulcuses for thrush. So this foot is just like the other one. I'm limited by how much heel I can take because I don't want to drop him on that compromised soft tissue. So now I'm working on that hoof from the top, and you can really see how much longer the lateral side is than the medial side. So you really have to look at the feet before you pick them up to make sure you don't trim them to be out of balance, because I wanted to take more off the medial side when I was looking at his hoof from the bottom, but if I had done that, I would have created a bigger imbalance in the hoof capsule for him. So just make sure you look at the hooves from all angles before you get started. Now I'm working on this horse's right hind, and you can see we have another funky wear pattern where he's growing long and straight on the medial side, and he's really flaring out on the lateral side. And he actually has a hard time holding up his hinds for me for any length of time, and I attribute some of that to the EPM. Some of that is because his back end is just really tight. So once again, don't get mad at horses like this that are physically compromised, there are certain things that they're going to struggle to do, and they're not doing it on purpose, and just need to try to work around it as best we can. Maybe ask the owners to give a horse like this some bute before a trim, something like that, to make it easier for the horse to keep its feet up in the air. As you can see, he wants his hind legs really close to each other. Like, I have my stand almost directly behind the other hind leg to try to relieve excess stress and pressure on this horse's hind end while I'm working on his hooves. So his hind feet are in a little bit better shape than his fronts. I'm just going to wait on him. Ask him to give it back. He doesn't want to. Sorry, bud. So I'm going to keep trimming. I'm going to try to get everything evened out and finish his trim from the top where he's a little bit more comfortable. So now I'm working on that same hoof from the top, and I'm really trying to address that lateral flare as much as I can from the top and give him as good of a balanced hoof as I can. But you can see from the angle he even brings his hoof forward, like, he's really tight higher up in his body. He can barely keep his foot in either direction up on the stand for any length of time. So I try to be as quick as I possibly can when I'm working on him. So now I'm working on this horse's left hind, and you can see it has a very similar pattern to the right hind, straighter on the medial side, longer and flared out on the lateral side. And that really has to do with his resting stance and his movement. But he still has a long toe on this hoof, and not as bad as the fronts, but it's still long on the hind. So I'm bringing that back to try to bring his breakover back. And you're going to see a lot of this in this part of the video where he gets uncomfortable and he needs his leg back. And unfortunately, I can't really move his leg farther underneath him and still use the hoof stand. The base of the hoof stand is almost touching his other hind foot because I'm so far underneath him. So just kind of let him have his foot back, bring it back, and it's a little bit of give and take until I can get the bottom of his foot trimmed. And I just know he's tight and he's a little uncomfortable, so I try to be as quick as I can on this leg in particular, because he does have a hard time with it. So trying to bring that lateral side of the hoof wall in a little bit from the bottom. I'll do some more from the top. Just trying to get him as balanced as I possibly can before I bring it forward and work on it from the top side. Taking back those frogs. This is one of his best hooves. The central sulcus infection is not as bad, but he has a propensity to have it in all 4 feet, especially during the wet season, which during this video it was very dry. So now I'm working on that hoof from the top, and the main thing I want to address from this angle is that lateral flare. If that's all I can get to, I'll be pleased with that for this hoof. Gives him a little bit more of a balanced foundation to stand on and to move on, and that's the main goal. It may not be as pretty as the other hooves, but it will be functional. So all in all, though, he's a sweet horse, and I really enjoy working on this guy. Thanks for watching, everyone. I will catch you in the next video.